Namaskar friends, after a brief break, the impact of tariff war. I was thinking Donald Trump may have better sense in the process, but the 50% threatened tariff has come into effect from 27th August. Have you ever wondered what happens when one country decides and just with one signature to try to shake the economy of another country? This is exactly what happened on August 27th. The USA suddenly imposed a 50% tariff on major Indian exports. The reason? They allege India kept buying cheap oil from Russia, fueling Russia-Ukraine war. That is the allegation by Donald Trump. But the irony is, China is buying more than what India buys. European Unions are buying. US itself is buying some kind of nuclear technology related raw material, the uranium kind of a thing, something they say. India raised that point, but Donald Trump dodged that question, did not answer. So this reveals the contradictions in the policy of Donald Trump, of course, global politics too. In this video, I am going to explain the short term, medium term and long term impacts of the tariff war India has with USA. What will this 50% tariff do? The first thing is industries to get hit are India's most labor intensive export sectors: garments factories, leather goods, fisheries, gems and jewelry manufacturing units. These industries are already operating in a kind of razor thin margins, with very meager margins. Such a tough competition with Bangladesh and other East Asian countries. With the US tariff, the Indian products will become too expensive for American consumers. Immediately, the competitors, Bangladesh and Vietnam, will definitely gain an edge against Indian products. To put it in numbers, the economists predict exports in some sectors could drop by even 70%. What does that mean? Cancelled orders, factories slowing or shutting down, and of course direct job losses too. On one hand, income fails or income falls. On the other, investors start seeing India as a risky bet, probably. But will it continue? No. Our GDP growth also may take a hit to some extent. This is the short-term shock, but the medium-term effects are even more complicated. India has built US relationship in the past 2 decades, more than 20 years, that is after the post-Cold War era and all. The relationship were built quite assiduously, and India was seen as a key partner in the US think tank in countering China's rise, which is danger to the world. But this tariff decision has broken that trust. The message is now clear. The US won't hesitate to sacrifice allies if it serves its own political interests. It is only narrow political things of Donald Trump and his improper thinking and corrupt practices. Some experts even suggest that the US may try to use Pakistan again as a counterweight to India's rise. If that happens, the entire regional power balance could shift. The Quad alliance might lose its credibility. If Washington behaves like this, how can India fully trust USA? This could push India to diversify its partnership and adopt a no dependency on one country approach. But in the long term, that is where the story gets more interesting. Atmanirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant India, has been the government's slogan for 10 years. This tariff war will only accelerate that vision. India's biggest strength is its massive domestic market, 1.4 billion people. If we produce, we can consume ourselves. That means we can secure our industries without being trapped in foreign political conflicts. On top of that, India can expand its trade relationships beyond one dominant partner, making supply chains more resilient. In a way, America's reckless decision could actually push India onto a stronger path towards self-reliance, multipolar diplomacy, and a powerful domestic country. You would remember, if we go back to Vajpayee regime, when they tested nuclear tests and other things, all sort of sanctions were imposed by all Western countries. Within 3-4 years, India could rebound, and they were all coming back to India. You collect from us as a nuclear supplier group. The uranium supply, there is a supplier group. US itself was ready to handshake with India and supply nuclear supplies. What I'm trying to say is, if we are able to withstand all these things, they will come back. And 2025 is not 1998. That was time because of Narasimha Rao government's launch of economic reform. We were growing slowly. Now we are on the verge of becoming third economic power very soon. So naturally, Trump's empty threat of dead economy and such utter nonsense. So now coming to the point of 50% tariff, over time, India will emerge as a global power that doesn't depend on anyone, not the US or not China. So to sum it up, short-term export losses, probably some job cuts, and of course a small GDP slowdown too. Medium term, strained US-India ties, shifting political alliances. Long term, a self-reliant India, strong domestic market, independent foreign policy, which already is there. The tariff war may shake India in the short run, but in the long run, it will make us stronger. And here is the joke to end with. America put just 50% tariff on India goods. Some fishermen asked, "Sir, what about fish exports now?" One guy replied, "Don't worry, at least the fish are still free to swim in the ocean." Not only that, of course, the fish eaters in India, they may have a pleasant surprise of fall in prices of fish for the time being. Namaskar.